Hi, I'm Mohammad Tahiri. In this video, we are going to see how we can build and dockerize a web server using JSON server package, and also how we can have user authentication using JWT or JSON Web Tokens. And also we will see how we can create a register page and a login, and also how we can store them and persist them. In first section of this video, we'll create a JSON server and implement some functionalities like the register and login and also the authentication using JWT. In the second part of this video, we will explain the benefits of refactoring code, and we will improve our codes using refactoring, and we split our codes into some different files. And in the last section, section 3, we will create a new Docker file, and we create a Docker image for our project, and we will run and test it, and we will see that how the Docker is works and run our service. So let's start. Let's create a new folder for our project. So I create a new folder named auth.json-server, and I open this in my VS Code. And because I want to use npm packages, I need to initialize my project. npm init-y will create a package.json file with default values. And that's it. Very good. And we create a new file named index.js. And because I want my project to start using npm scripts, I will come here and I delete this and say start equals to node index.js. And that's it. Let's format our document. And now let's initialize our project for GitHub. In order to do this, I will add that git ignore, and inside this I say node modules because I want my git to ignore this. And here let's say git init, and it will initialize, and then I say git add dot and git commit -m init, and that's it. So if now I say git log --one line, we can see that we have this master, and that's good. Let's create a new repository here. I say this is, let's copy the name from here, auth.json server, and server to use JWT login and register. It will be public, and I don't need anything here, and I create this repository. That's good. So let's simply run these commands inside our project. We'll add this origin into our project, then we will change our branch name to main, and we will push. And that's it. So if I refresh here, you can see that my code is online, and you can access the code from here with the /dev power /auth.json server, and that's good. So now we initialized our project using GitHub, and let's start. I need to use JSON server instead of simply using Express.js and Node.js. So let me show you how we can do this. We need to use in JSON server. So the first thing is install it. I will create this project. I say npm I JSON server, and in package.json we have this package JSON server. And let me show you how we can create a simple server. And you can see that all of our codes are here, and we can create a new JSON server and create a server for it, add router, add middlewares, and apply this router and middlewares to our server, and then listen to it using some port. And I will copy all of these files from here, and inside of index.js I will paste them. You can see that we import the JSON server, and then we create a server using this, and then we have this router, which is the json-server.router using a file, we need to have a database file. Of course, it is a JSON file, but it will be something like a database. So let's create it. I say, for example, db.json, and inside of this, you can see that we can have some. Let me format this and show you. You can see that we have some data, posts, and we have some comments, we have a profile, and they will be our data as our database. And here I say that dot slash from this current source. And after this, we say that the middleware is JSON server default middleware, and then we'll apply some middleware to our server. First, we apply middleware, then we apply router, and then we listen to a port. I prefer to use 8200, and we say JSON server is running on port 8000. Let's format document. That's good. And let's start our project using npm start. And you see that we have JSON server is running on port 8000. So if I now come here and I say localhost 8000, you can see that our server is running and we have these resources, posts, and comments, and profile. And this is the routes we have using JSON server, and you can see that this is exactly the data we have here. But in this example, we need to use just one of them, because in fact we need to use JWT, and this is our main focus. So I will simply use a simple data here, and I will copy this, and you can copy this from the GitHub repository too. And let's format document. Oh, okay. Now I just have a books, and there are some books here, and it is really not important, and we are just using it to show the authorization process. So let's start our server again. So JSON server is running, and if I come here and refresh, you can see that now I have books here. That's good. And this is our simple JSON server. The next thing is we need to have some users to register and log in using them. So let's create them inside of our root directory. I create a new file named users.json. And inside of this file, I will have an array of users. So the ID is, for example, 1, and email is something, and password would be something again. Let's format it. And now this file, we're using this file to have our users. And let's close this. Okay. Here, let's clean up my code. Okay, that's much more better. Now we need to see the users, and because we need the file system module, let's add the file system modules here. Const fs require file system, and then let's create a new API route for our users list, and this method is a get method. So we create a new method. We say that server.get. You know that we have some different HTTP functions like get or post or put or patch and also delete. These are the most popular ones. I need to create a new get method. In the first place, we need to have the path. It is the users. And then we create a callback function with request and response. Here, we need to read our files from our users file. So we create a command here using fs. we have some different read file and read file sync. I use this read file, and the first thing is our path to the file. Because I need to use it somewhere else, I can create a new variable for it instead of using just some string like this. So let's create it. I say const the user's file path equals to dot slash users dot json, and here instead of this I say users file path, and that's it. And we have a callback function in the read file. The first thing you can see that it is the error, and the second part is the data, which is a buffer, and I say the file data, and that's it. Close this. No, we say that if we have any error, we should handle our error. So I say response dot status. Our status would be 401 dot send the error to the users. And instead of this 401, let's return 500. The error would be better. And after this, if we don't have any error, we have our file data. So let me add some comments here to show that these two important functions we need to use here. And the first thing is json.stringify, and the next thing is json.parse. json.stringify will convert the JavaScript object to string, and json.parse will convert a string to a JSON JavaScript object, and we use them when we are using file systems. And so here we can simply use this for and say that let our users array equals to json.parse, and we have this file data, and you know that this file data is a string, so using json.parse we can convert it, and users array, we have users array, and we can simply return the response with status of 200 dot send the users array, and that's it. And we can also here use the return to finish the application. Let's format document. Let's check our users. I start my project again. Now I want to check this, and instead of using the graphical browsers, it is better to use Postman. And you can simply here create a new request, and it is local. Okay, you can see that I have it here, HTTP localhost 8 2000, and let's check this first. Okay, we have this preview, we have our roots, and then users. You can see that we have these users, and that's it. But I don't want my password to be returned. So let's change this array here. How we can do this? Okay, we can create a new array like const filtered array equals to users array dot map, and for any user we can simply return an object with ID of user.id and email of user.email. And using this, we return this filtered array, and let's restart our project again and check this again. No, I just have the ID and the email, and this is better, and that's good. But instead of using this request, it's really better to have a collection for our project. You can see that I have some collections for some different projects, And this is much more better way. Let's create a new collection. And here for the name, I say auth JSON-server. And that's it. No, we can save this into our auth JSON-server and save it. Okay, now you can see that inside of this auth JSON-server, I have this request and it is get, and let's rename it. This is, for example, users list. That's it. So you can see that it is saved. Let's send our request again. That's good. Let's duplicate this. Using this duplicate, I will create a new request here. You can see that this is the home and A2000. Let's send this. Okay, save. And now we have users list and we have this home. And now it is a much more better way to use these collections. You can see that I have homes here and I have users list here. Now let's continue. The next part would be registering our users. So let's close this and also minimize this part. Okay, now we have this API route and we have this comment that shows us what is this, and that's good. This middlewares can be here. Let me cut this and paste it here. That's better. Okay, now we need to have another API route. Let me copy this, and this API route would be the register, and this will be a post method. So let's create this. I create a new method, server dot. This time I will use a post and I need a path. This path would be auth /register and the callback function, request and response. Okay, we need some validations. And in these validations, we need to have an email and a password inside of our request body. So we need another middleware here. I say server.use, and we need the JSON server dot body parser to have access to the body of our requests. So here, for the validations, we should see that is email and password exists in request.body, and this is it. So let's check this. We say that if not request.body, you should do something here, or also we need to check that if not request.body.email or not request.body.password, and if none of them, if also let's here using this question mark in order to avoid undefined errors, exception errors, and here we will throw an exception. So we can simply return the response with a status of 4000, which is a bad request dot send a message which is bad request. Please provide an email and a password. Let's format document. That's good. Okay, this is our first part of validation. If not request.body or not request.body.email or not request.body.password, we return a response with a status of 4000 and send this message. Let's continue. We will destructure something from request.body because we are sure that the email and password are exist. We can destructure them, the email and the password. And let's have another validation. Is email exists in users.json file and we need to check that if this email exists or not, and if the email exists, we cannot add it another because we want it to be unique. So let's check this. For this, we can create a new function for is exist user functionality, and let's create it here, and let's say that const is exist user. This will get an email, and this is an arrow function. So let's retrieve the list of users from the file again. It equals to JSON dot parse the file system dot read file, but this time we should use read file sync because we want the output of this read file. And now let's pass the path file, which is users file path, that you can see that it is here. Okay, now we have the users as the JavaScript object, and we can simply find any users inside of this array using the email. So let's find its index. Const user index equals to users dot find index, and let's say we have the user, and user dot email should equals to email. And you know that in find index, if we find something, we will return the index of it, or else we will return -1. So if the user exists, the user index should be something other than -1. So we'll return the user index is not equal to -1. And if this is true, so the user exists. And let's back here in this part and check this. We say if is exist user with the email input, what we should do, of course, we should throw an error. So we say return response dot and status. This status would be 409 for conflict, and we will send another message which is email already exists. And let's format document. This was the next part of our validations. So for now, validation is okay, and we can save new user, and that's it. So for now, we can open this users file and add the new user to these users, and then save the changes into our users.json again. And we can simply use fs.read file again, and the first thing is path, which is users file path, and the next thing is the callback functions. These callback functions, we have error and the file data, and that's it. So here we say that if we have errors, okay, because we have this, I think here, let's copy this again. If we have any error, we will return the status of 400 with the error. That's good. And if we don't have any error, we grab the users array with json.parse, and we have this file data here. This file data, we parse it to JavaScript objects. Now we have this array, and we need to create a new array. Const, for example, new user equals to an object which ID is something, for example, this, and we have the email equals to email, and user password equals to password. But you know that in ECMAScript 6, we can, when we have the key and the value are the same, we can simply use one of them. So we say that ID and email and password. And instead of this ID, our ID should be unique. You can use anything like math.random in JavaScript, or for example, date.know that will give you the time string in type of millisecond, but it is not a standard way, and it is better to use this UUID package. And you can see here that we can use UUID, and let's copy this part. Now we need to install new package, so I say npm I UUID, and that's it. Let's check the package.json. Okay, now I have UUID package, and let's import it here. Import v4 as UUID v4 from UUID, but because this is for ECMAScript 6 modules, but because we are using Node.js and it is common JS syntax, we need to use this one. So let's do this. Const v4 as UUID v4 equals to require UUID, and now we can simply use this function here to create a new unique ID. Let's format again. Okay, now we have users array and new user. Let's simply push this new user to the users array. Users array dot push this new user, and this was the part of adding user. Now let's save this again. So in this time we use write file, fs dot write file, and the first thing is the file or the file path. So we need to have the user's file path. And the next thing is, what is the next thing is the data. The data should be a string or an array buffer here. So we need to change the user's array to a string again. So here I mentioned that we can use, for convert a string to JS object, we can use json.parse, and for convert JS object to a string, we can use a stringify. So let's do this. We can say json.stringify and users array, and the next part is the callback function, that if we have any error or if we have any results and we check that if there is any error, we can simply return this status of 400 for server error again. Let's format document. Okay, now if we have any error here, let me separate them. And after this write file, if we have any error, we simply return this status, and that's good. And if we don't have any error, our operation is finished successfully, and we will finally return the response with a status of 201, which is for creation, and send user created successfully and with ID of, and he can here use something like this concatenation, but we have some more modern syntax using template literals, and we say that dollar curly braces and new user dot ID, and that's it. So format document, and let's check to see if we have any error or not. Control C CLS. Okay, and npm start. That's it. Now let's come here and create a new request. This request would be for register, and let's copy the URL from here, and this would be a post method with auth/register. Let's send a request, and we have 400. Okay, bad request, please provide an email and a password. And inside of our body, we need to send some data. So body, inside of raw, I choose JSON, and here I will send an email For example, m@t.com and password, for example, 123456. And let's send this. Okay, it says that user created successfully with ID of this. And if I check inside of my users.json, let's format this. Yes, we can see that our user is created successfully, and that's good. So it seems that our register working successfully. So let's go to the next route. The next route would be, of course, the login. So let me copy this. We have new API route for the login. This would be a post method, of course. And let's create this method, server.post. And this time it is /auth/login. The request and response for our callback function. Okay, now we need to check that if the email and the password exist in our request. So we can simply copy them from here. This is the part we can copy. We have this validation because we need the email and the password inside of our body, and this is exactly the same. And then let's destructure them from request.body because we are sure that they exist, and we have this email and the password. Okay, now we have the email and password, and we should check that if a user with this email and this password exist in our user list or not. And if there is not user with these specifications and these informations, we won't let the user to log in. So let's create a new helper function for this. I will copy this, and here I say that is valid user data. And this time we need both email and password here, and we say that const users equals json.parse the user list. That's right. And here inside of this users index, we simply check the user email and the user password. So here we say that and user dot password equals to the password. And then we will return the user index is not equals -1, and it will check that if any user with this email and this password is a valid user or not. So let's minimize this and minimize this is valid user data, and minimize this. And so here we check that is the user valid with this email and this password. So we check that if not is a valid user data with the email and the password, and if our is valid user data result is false, simply we can return the response with status of 401 dot send. Okay, we need to say that the username or the password is wrong, so we can say that incorrect credentials, and that's it. So this is the part that we sure that the user is valid, and we can create a new token for him and return this token back to the user. So let's say that, and that's it. For now, let's see the JSON Web Token package. We need to use this package, and you can see that we have some useful functions like sign, JWT.sign, and it have some inputs, and also you can see that you can use this for expiration time of our this is here. You can see that we can have this expiration time. For example, this is for 1 hour of expiration, 60 seconds, and multiply by 60 minutes would be 1 hour. And let's use this. The first thing is installing this package. Let's open a terminal and say npm i JSON Web Token, and that's it. So inside of our package.json, you can see that we have this JSON Web Token. Let's do a commit here, git add dot and git commit -m update. Okay, now we have this commit, that's good. And let's create this this part, this signing, and I will copy this to show you that how we can do this. And let's, after this is exists user is valid user data, okay, here for JWT. And let's paste it here. The first thing is we need to import JSON Web Token. So let's say that const JWT is require JSON Web Token. That's good. So let's create it. We create a new function, const create token. This token will have an email, and it returns the token created here. So we can create this return JWT dot sign, and inside the sign, the first thing is a payload, which is a string or object or a buffer, and then it is the secret or private key. Let's create this payload here before this file. So I say const the payload. What is this payload? This is an object, and it has something that we can return to the current user. And inside of this, you can see that we have this expiration and some data. And let me copy this expiration here and choose it as another variable, so it is much more cleaner. And const expiration equals to math.floor with data no, and because we don't want this milliseconds here, we will divide it by 1000, and then using this for 1 hour, it will be valid. So the first thing is this the next thing would be the email inside of this payload. So let's format this, format document. Now we can use this payload, and the second part is a secret or private key. Let's create a private key, const private, or for example secret key would be something that is secret to you, and this is it. So the next part is this secret key. Now let's use this create token, and here const access token equals to create token with the email, and let's return this token. So we say that return response dot status would be 200 dot send this access token, and let's check npm start. Okay, now let's save this. Okay, let's duplicate this register, and this time rename this from here to login, and instead of register we say login and save it. Okay, instead of this login we need another body here, and it should be raw JSON, and let's use this email and password again to see the results. Okay, you see that this token is returned for us because this email and password is right. Let's check it if the password is wrong. Can we log in? No, we have 401 and authorized, and that's good. Let's return it back, and this is the token we have. So let me show you that what is this token. I will copy this, and here I will open JWT website. In this website, we can see that any token we have, okay, you see that any token have three parts: header, payload, and the signature. I need to use this website to decode my token. You can see that this token has these headers, and we don't need to use these headers and signatures here. I just want to show you that what is this. This payload has an expiration time and an email and issued at. And you can see that issued at is a timestamp. That is the time of the issuing this token. It is this time, and expiration is the time of expiration that we calculated. Here, and we say that this is 1 hour, and you can see that it is exactly in 13, and the time of issue is 12 and 12:17, and the expiration time is 13:16. It is at least, it is 1 hour exactly, and that's good. And so this is our token, and now we can use this. And let's close all of this. Now we have these 4 rows here. Let's come back to our project and minimize this create token, and this is finished. So the next thing is using this token. So let's create some comments. First thing is the rows. We need to let's say that we need to change our rows from this slash something to a slash auth, and we need to have this middleware for these rows. And how we can do this? We need to use regex to be sure that this middleware will be for anything that starts with auth. Let me show you this inside of this website, regex 101. For example, we need to have this auth slash, let's say, customers, and slash auth slash, for example, books slash auth slash, let's say, countries, and anything. We need to have a regex that chooses all of them. Okay, the first thing is, in a regex we have this delimiter in the start and in the end, and it should be here. After that, we need to choose this slash auth, and here you can see that we have this pattern error, and it says that an escape delimiter must be escaped in most languages with a backslash. So for any slash, if we can use backslash, okay, you see that it's solved easily, and now we selected slash auth from all of them. The next part is that slash, let's have this again. Okay, we have this error again. Yeah, let's use a backslash to escape. Now we selected all of them. The next part is anything, and we can use dot, but the problem is it can be different in the length. So how we can choose all of them? Simply we can use dot star, and it will grab all of them, and that's good. So let's copy this regex here and create a new middleware. So I say server dot use. And what is the handler? The handler would be this, but this should be inside of 2 slash. Okay, now this is the regex for our middleware, and then inside of any middleware, we know that we have request and response and the next, and we will working with this next. So what we should do here, we should validate if the request has the authorization header. I will show you that on Postman next. So we say that something is the request, because we want to work with this header. Let's format document. Okay, after this we check that if we have this headers dot authorization is not undefined, or the headers dot authorization dot splitting with this space, and after that the first part of it is not equals to bearer, we will return the response with a status. The status will be 403 for unauthorized dot send unauthorized request. I will show you that what is this parts here on the Postman. You can see that simply. So after this, we use a try catch, and if anything happens here, we can simply in the catch part we can return the response with a status of 403 again and dot send this error. That's it. So inside of this try, we need to check that is this token is valid or not. So how we can do this? We can simply create a new function here to verify the token. Let me show you from this JSON Web Token, Control F, verify. So the verify token will give the token and the secret key and checks that if it's valid or not, and you can see that here. So let's create the new function for it, const verify token. It will give a token, and here we can simply use return JWT.verify. And inside this verify, the first thing is the token. The next thing is the secret or public key, and we have the secret key. And the last part is the options, and we can have an error and the code decoded. And here, if the decoded is not undefined, we can simply return the decode, or we simply throw a new error and we catch it later. And that's it. And this is our verified token. Now I will use this, and here inside of this try, I will create a new, for example, let's the verify result variable, and I call that verify token, and I pass the token. This token, let me copy this to show you the token. Okay, I think here we need to mention that what is the authorization. The authorization would be something like this as a standard bearer and a space and something like this. So this is the thing we do here. So this time here we need to verify token, and we say that header dot authorization dot split. We split the authorization with a space and the first part, and this is, you can see here that we had this was the first part. We should have bearer here, and this is the next part, which is this token. So this is our token, and here if nothing happens that through an error, we can simply log our verify result, and we let the next part to be run. Else we can return a response with the status of 403. Let's format our document and let's check this. But before checking this, we need to add these routes to our router and rewrite it. So for this, we will rewrite the default router in JSON server. How we can do this? We can simply use another middleware and we say that server.use and json-server dot rewriter, and inside of this we need to use some regex again, and we say that slash auth slash star would be rewritten to slash sharp1, and it will for example it will change the slash auth slash books to books, and that's it. Very good. Now let's test this again. Restart npm start. Okay, now let's go to the here to our Postman. I create a new from this home duplicate this. I say that this is books. Let me show you that we have inside of this JSON we have these books here, so we want to use this and slash books, save and send. You can see that we have these 200 and we don't have any authorizations here, but I will duplicate this, and here I say this time this is the protected books, and if we use slash auth slash books, let's see the result. It says that 403 forbidden, this is an unauthorized access. So we need to add authorizations, and I showed you here that the authorization would be something like this: bearer and the token. So we need a token. Let's get a new token from this login and send this. For this user, I have this token, and inside of this protected API, it is really simple to using these bearer tokens. You can come here to this authorization and add a bearer token and paste your token here, and if we send the request now, you can see that our request is 200. Okay, and now this is the authorization using JWT. Let me show you what happens here. When we added these bearer tokens inside of the headers, we added something else, and you can see that. Let me show you. This is an authorization header, and inside of this we have this value, a bearer and a space and a token, and this is exactly what we check here. We say that if the authorization, we split this string using an empty and a space, and the first part should be bearer and the next part is our token, and this is simply how we can use the JWT tokens inside of our server. Let's add another commit again. Git add dot git commit dash m initial. Let's say that implement JWT, and that's it. So let's git push. That's it. Let's check our GitHub here. Okay, now we have all of them inside of our GitHub page. Now we implemented our index.js and we have a server that works properly, and we checked all of its functionality with Postman, but we have a little problem. We have all of our business solutions here and all our logic is inside of one file, and it is not a good solution and the best practice for enterprise level applications. And it's better to refactor our codes and create some modules for different parts and integrate them all into our index.js. And this is what we are going now to do now, and I highly recommend to see this, and it is a really important skills that helps you a lot when you are working with an enterprise level project, and also when you have an programming or web developing interviews, and these skills can help you a lot to pass the interview and give a good job. So let's do this. First of all, I will copy this index.js because I want this to be here for the next usage, and archive index.archive.js. So now we have this file and it will be remains here as a reference, and now we are working with index.js. We need some different parts, so we create a new folder named src, and inside of this I will add some new folders and some new files, and the first thing is the utils, and inside of the utils I will add utilities I want to use. Let's see what is the parts we can use them to be as a different module. You can see that we have this is exist user and is validate user, and we can give them to another place, and also they can be here, but I want to show you that how we can use them inside of a different place. So I will cut all of them from here, is exist user and is valid user, and inside of this utils I create a new file with general utils.js, and I paste them here, and I say that export dot module dot exports equals to these two functions, is exist user and is a valid user data, and that's it. And because we are using some things inside of them, we should take care of them. Let's see that we are using, yes, you can see that we have fs or file system, and let's copy the file system here. The next thing is fs.read file sync. Okay, we have a path, and we can, let's refactor the files here. Okay, I have this users.json and db.json. So inside this src I create a new folder named data, and I will pass the users into that, the db.jsons also. So we have the db.json and users.jsons inside of this data, and now we want to use that path, but let's pass the address of that files into these two files. So first of all, let's refactor the address. You can see that I have this router, it uses this db.json, and we refactored it. So we say that we use ./src/data/db.json, and the user file path is changed, so we refactor it and we say that ./src/data/users.json, and for this users file path it is updated, and we will pass them into that is exist user and is valid user data. So let's grab them here, this user file path, we have email and user file path, and also this is because we are not using database and we need to pass the file address, but if you're using database it would be much more easier. So let's pass them here inside of is exist user. We pass the email and the user file path, and also inside of this is valid user data we pass this file address again. That's it. Let's check it again. Okay, now I think it's okay, and we can use this inside of our index.js. So let's go here and import them. I say const something equals to require ./src/ utils / general utils, and what is them? I say is exist user and is valid user will be coming from there, and this is the first part of our refactor. Let's continue. Okay, after then we have this part. This is the tokens, and create token and verify token and the expiration time and secret key. Let's create another util file here. I say a auth or API auth or security, something like, say, for example, auth utils.js, and I will delete this and cut all of this part and paste them here, and let's check them. This X is sound okay, secret key okay, creating token okay. We need JWT, so let's copy this JWT and import it here. So now we have this JWT.sign, that's it, and JWT.verify. I think that's okay. Let's export them. Module.export equals to create token and verify token. Now let's import them here. Const something equals to require dot slash src slash utils slash auth utils. And what is this? Let's press Control space to have this create token and verify token. That's good. So it should work properly. And let's see if there's anything else we can refactor. So okay, remember, and inside of these users we have these parts. Okay, that's good. And also let me show you that this is a part that we can outsource it and use the utils. And let's copy this and comment this, and inside this general utils I can add another function like const delete password column from users, and this is, you can see that this is an arrow function. And what should do this arrow function? It should get a user's array and return something from it. So the user's array would be our input, and we say that, let's copy this inside of it. We say that const filtered array equals to use this user's array input dot map. We get a user and we grab the ID and email from it, and then we simply return the filtered array. And yes, that's it. So we can use this. Let's export delete password columns from users, or let's add an array here. It is a good idea to use this type of self descripting function names and import it here from the general utils. Delete password column from users array, and here let's say that const filtered array equals to this function, and it gives the users array. And that's it. Let's delete this comment, and this is another refactor we've done here. Okay, next let's go to the server.post request body. Okay, email is this user, read file, and we can refactor this part. Let's copy this, and here let's create a new function, const create new user object equals an arrow function. What is the input? We need just email and password. So let's say we have email and password, and here we simply copy this. Yeah, this is cheat, but it's okay. Okay, we say const new user equals to this. Okay, we need UUID. Let's cut this UUID from here and use it here. So we say that const new user equals to ID this and email and password, and we simply return the new user. And let's export this. create new user, and let's import it here. Let's format document. Okay, now we have this create new user object, and we simply use it here. Comment this. We say create const new user equals to create new user object with the email and the password, and that's it. Let's delete this, and this was another refactor. We create new user object, we use this, and I think that's good for this server.post. The next thing is the login, and inside this login, okay, that's good, and the access token, that's good, and I think it's okay, and it doesn't need any refactor. The next part is using this middleware. For this, I create a new variable const the, let's say, routes regex, and I cut this regex from here and use this here, and you can see that this part is in fact a middleware, and we can outsource it and refactor it. So let's create, let's do something interesting. Middlewares. I create a new folder named middlewares, and here I use auth middleware.js, and here I create a middleware. Let's copy paste this from here. Okay, this is a middleware, and in fact our middleware should be something like this. So we say that const the auth middleware equals an arrow function which gives a request and response and next, and it will return this. And let's check the inside. It says that const header equals something, headers follow, no, okay, verified token. Okay, we need verified token, so let's import it. Const something equals to require. Okay, now we have this part, this address here. We are inside of this middleware. We need to go one folder up and go to utils and auth utils, and we have no access to the auth utils module. You can see that we have create token and verify token. I have this verify token, that's good, and next and anything, that's good. Module dot export would be the auth middleware, but I don't need to use this object. Why? Because I just want to have this auth middleware. So I will export this auth middleware, and here I say const something equals to require dot slash src slash middlewares slash auth middleware, and you can see that we can use auth middleware like this, and simply we delete this part and we say server.use router regex and auth middleware. Let's format document. Now I think anything is done and our refactor is finished. Let's check this. Okay, I open a new terminal here. I say npm start. Now we need to check everything because we are not using automated tests or TDD approach, and we need to check anything manually. So our JSON server is running, that's good. Let's go to our Postman. This is the benefit of using a collection. You can see that for the maintaining our project, it is good to have this collections, and you can also send this collection file to everyone you want. So let's say that what is the home status 200. Okay, the books, let's check it. It is 200. We don't have any error. That's good. Let's check the protected rows inside of this authorization. Check that this should be no auth, and check it /auth/books. We have 403. That's good. Let's check the users list and see it is 200. Okay. The next thing is the register. Okay. Let's send. It's 409 config. It says that email already exists. Why? Because inside of these users, we have this user. That's good. Let's create another user. Dev. Oh, say dev empower @gmail.com. And also this for our password and anything else. That's good. Let's send. It says 201. It seems that it works correctly. User created successfully with ID of this. And let's log in using this user. Okay, inside the /auth/login, inside of the body, I will paste them here. Email is that and password is this. Let's check if it's working correctly or not. I delete this T from the password and send. Okay, incorrect credentials with 401 unauthorized. Let's correct this password and send. It seems that we don't have any error, and that's so good. We have this status of 200. And let's see here inside this users format document. You can see that this user is here, and that's good. Now we have this token. Let's check our token. Here, Control R, Control V. Okay, we have email of this user, dev empower, issued at this time, expires at this time, and that's good. So now we have the token, and we can check that if our authorization is working or not. Inside of this protected books, check that this barrier token, Control R, delete, paste, send. Yeah, 200. It seems that our current work is right. Let's, for example, change one of them to see if this token is correct or not. Okay, this token is not valid, and we have 400. But if we paste the correct token, we have this 200, and this work is wrote. This route is protected properly, and it seems that our refactor is working correctly. But this time you can see that we have a structure, we have SRC. Inside of this SRC we have data, and we have middlewares, and we have utils, and this is a much more better application. And also we save this the old index.js, so you can refer to this and do this refactor again with me using this file. Let's add a commit. This time I don't want to use the CLI, I use this graphical environment here. You can see that. Let's see, it is also a good way to see what we have done here in this session. Okay, you can see that we added this file inside of this SRC data. That's good. We have this users.json inside this data. Good. And this middleware.js added inside of SRC middle addedwares. SRC utils, we have this auth utils, that's good. And general utils added, good. We have added index.js, underline index, underline archive.js. We deleted db.json, and we have, you can see that this is the refactor. Let me show you again. This is the refactor. We added something from here and deleted this. You can see that we deleted a lot of things here, and that's good. This is our main refactor. So, okay, and we deleted users.json. Okay, we say that refactor entire project. And let's commit. That's good. Let's sync. Okay, it pushed, and if I open a new terminal, I say git status, the working tree should be clean. Okay, nothing to commit, working tree is clean. And if I come here inside of the repository and refresh, yes, we have the final entire refactor, entire project. And you can see that inside of this SRC, we have this. And also we have underline index, underline archive.js. That is the initial index.js, the complete one. And you can use this to refactor your project. And this is for this part. In this part, we are going to Dockerize our project, and I assume that you are familiar with the entire Docker concept and the Docker containers and Docker images, and we just create a new Docker image for our file and run it to see what is going on inside of the Docker. You can see that I'm using Docker desktop because I'm on Windows 10 and currently we don't have any containers, and we have just these three images, SonarQube, Nginx, and RabbitMQ, and I don't want to work with these images and want to create a new one. So let's open a new terminal here and let's check our Docker CLI. I say Docker PS. Okay, we don't have any container, and let's say Docker images. We have these three images, and now we need to create a new image for this project. First, let's delete these node modules because I don't need these node modules anymore, and I delete this. Okay, that's good. Now let's create a new file named .docker ignore, and inside here you can ignore anything you don't want to be into your Docker image, and I simply just copy these node modules inside of this docker ignore, and that's it. And let's create our file. So we create a Docker file without any dots or any extensions, and this is the Docker files we need to use. And there are some simple steps, and the first thing is our base image. We need to create a new base image here. We say that we are using Node.js and the version is 19 Alpine. And the next thing is we need to copy all of our files. So we copy, you can see that it says copy something from src into destination. I say copy. What is our src? We say dot because we need to copy anything, and because we are ignoring these node modules, we are sure that if there is any node modules, it won't be copied. So we copy anything into a destination, for example, slash app, because this is a Linux type, and then we need to change our work directory into that app. You can see that work directory would be slash app, and then we need to run our project. But before that, we need to install our required libraries using npm i or npm install. So we say that before this you need to run npm i or npm install. There's no difference, install. And the final thing is our command. Our command would be running Node.js. We can say that npm and start, or also you can say that npm start runs this, or you can also use node index.js. I say node because I installed Node.js. We can use this node and index.js, and this command will be run. So let's create our image and use Docker CLI. What we should do first, let's check the image again, Docker images. You can see that now we have just three images, and now we need to create a new Docker image. But let me create a new readme file here and pass readme.md, and let's have my commands here to be here as a source. So what is my project name? My project name is auth json-server, and we say that docker, what is our docker commands? Okay, the first command is the docker build. Because we need to build something, let's do this here. I say that docker build. We need a tag name, and okay, so we use -t to create a new name. I want to copy my image name from here. I want this name -t auth JSON server, and we need a tag for the version for this tag 100. I say 100, and then we need the place of the Docker file. It is exactly the same place from here, and let's copy this command from here and paste it here. and let's press enter to see if we have any problem or not. Okay, it seems that it's going to create the image for us, and it has done this. Copy dot to app, work directly to app, npm install, exporting to image, exporting layers, working image, and name it to auth JSON server, and with this tag, and it seems that it created. If I say docker images, you can see that now I have this image, auth JSON server with tag of 100, and it has this ID. It created 16 seconds ago, and its size is 184 megabyte. Let's check the Docker desktop. We don't have any container yet, but we have these images, and you can see that this image added auth JSON server with this ID, and its tag is here, and we can see that it is not used anywhere. And it created less than a minute ago, and its size is this. So let's come here and see what is this file. Open preview. Okay, you can see that this is the command, and you can use this command on the on your training here. Okay, and let's see the next part, which is running this image. In order to run this image, we need to use docker run, and we need two different tags. The first thing is -d. -d is the detach mode, and it will run on the background process. And the next thing is our -p, because we need to map the Docker image port into our Windows port. So we say that A2000 should be mapped into A2000 image port. What is the next thing? We need the name of our Docker image. It is auth JSON server, and the tag is this. Let's copy this simply, and let's press enter to see if it is okay or not. Yes, you can see that it is run, and it gives us an ID, and it means that it is working. Let's copy this and paste it here. Open preview. Okay, this is the Docker commands. Let's say that build image is this command, and also run image is this command. This is much more better. Now let's go to our container to see. Okay, this is the image, and if I come here into the containers, you can see that I have a container with a random name. This image is auth JSON server with this version, and status is running, and its port is A2000, and it says that this is localhost A2000, exactly like our Node.js. Now let's close this VS Code to see that there are nothing Node.js codes running from there, and it is all by containers of Docker. And let's go to here and check them. If I say localhost A2000, it seems that it's working properly and it's okay. Let's check the books. Okay, the protected books without any authentication. 400, 403 users list. Okay, and register. Let's register something. It's okay, created. Let's get a new token with this email and password. We have this token, and let's go here and check our token, bearer token, and here paste send. It seems that it's okay, and this time it's all coming from this container. And if I pause this container and check the Postman again, let's wait for the status. Okay, exited, and if I come here inside of this Postman, and it says that could not send request, and we have an error of connection, and this means that we are using this Docker container. And let's open our VS Code again and check what we have done inside of this section, we added this dot git ignore, okay, added the Docker file, and we added this readme. That's good. And let's commit this, add Docker image, and sync. And also, let me show you again. You have this container and you have these images. And because I don't need this again anymore, I can also delete them. So I can, if I want to use them, I will give them. But I delete this because I don't need them. So simply from here, I can delete this container. Also, I don't need this image, so I can simply delete this auth JSON server with this tag from here. It is deleted from my system. In this video, we saw that how we can create a new web server using JSON server package, and also how we can have login and register functionalities, and how we can create a token or a JWT, which stands for JSON Web Token, and pass it to the user. And also we saw that how we can use Postman to send our requests to the server. Thank you for watching this video, and leave a comment or any questions you have for me from this video content, and also like and share this video. Thank you. Goodbye.